What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Knights of the Nerds Table. I'm your host, EJ, and I'm here to get you on the hype train for the Black Panther sequel, Wakanda Forever. Before we talk about what this movie could be, let's discuss how we got here. The first Easter egg of Wakanda and Black Panther is actually all the way back in Iron Man 2, with the location of Wakanda briefly shown on a holographic map. One of those blink and you miss it moments. In Avengers Age of Ultron, it is mentioned that Wakanda is the source of vibranium, a rare metal and power source that the nation naturally possesses.
Don't follow what comes out of Wakanda.
The strongest metal on Earth.
After these two small teases, we finally get a true introduction to the Black Panther in 2016's Captain America: Civil War. Chadwick Boseman was cast as the character for the franchise, and it could not have been a better choice. Boseman had attended the most well-known historically black college in the country, Howard University. There he would train for a career in theater. He had also been mentored and sponsored by Denzel Washington and Felicia Rashad, both black Hollywood legends. He was the perfect actor to display black heroism on and off screen. In Civil War, you see T'Challa grieve the loss of his father as Zemo kills him during a terror attack on the United Nations. T'Challa blames his father's death first on Bucky the Winter Soldier, since Zemo frames him as the one responsible for the attack. He dons the mask of the Black Panther to avenge his father's death, but he is warded off from killing Bucky by Captain America and company. So he chooses the side of Iron Man in the Civil War and has some pretty jaw-breaking action scenes during the airport fight. Once it is revealed that Zemo is actually behind his father's death, T'Challa realizes that no amount of bloodshed will bring his father back, and he brings Zemo to custody and to justice. From Civil War, he returns home to Wakanda and his own personal movie kicks off in 2018's Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler. From the beginning of this movie, it has truly illustrated the vast resources and wealth that Wakanda holds with its homegrown vibranium. This African state leans heavily into isolationism, keeping its vast wealth and technology a secret from the outside world, so that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. From there, T'Challa accepts his birthright as his father's successor to Wakanda, a nation combined of the 5 tribes of the River Tribe, the Mining Tribe, the Merchant Tribe, Border Tribe, and Jabari Tribe. Not everyone accepts his leadership, particularly N'Baku of the Jabari Tribe, but after T'Challa defeats N'Baku during a duel for the kingdom, N'Baku too bends the knee to the King of Wakanda. This film focuses on T'Challa coming into his own as a leader, really reckoning with the personal and political legacy his father T'Chaka leaves behind. Enter in T'Challa's long-lost cousin, Eric Stevens, who also goes by Killmonger. Stevens returns to Wakanda and reveals dark secrets from T'Challa's father's past. As it so happens, T'Chaka had killed his brother, N'Jobu, Eric Stevens' father, for aiding Claw in getting his hands on Wakandan technology. He left Stevens, his own nephew, without his father, and to grow up wondering what his true heritage was. When Eric Stevens, or Killmonger, returns to Wakanda, he brings the body of Claw and makes a claim to the throne of Wakanda himself. He handily defeats T'Challa in the traditional challenge for the throne, seemingly killing him by throwing him off a waterfall. Killmonger then plans on using Wakandan's weapons as king to overthrow the power structure of the outside world, giving oppressed people of color the means to empower themselves by becoming the top class. But as you may have guessed, T'Challa is not actually dead. He is nursed back to health by his mother and his sister with unlikely help from the Jabari tribe. After his recovery, he leads a rebellion against Killmonger and defeats his cousin in a man-to-man or panther-to-panther fight. Killmonger, mortally wounded by his wounds, chooses to die rather than stay in prison in Wakanda for his crimes. T'Challa does realize that in a way his cousin was right, and Wakanda had a duty with this vast wealth to help the underprivileged in the world. At the end of the film, he ends the era of isolationism in Wakanda and shows the world what Wakanda can do to help the oppressed classes all across the globe. Wakanda and T'Challa play a small role at the end of the Infinity Saga. Wakanda is the last line of defense against Thanos in Infinity War, as they try to ward him off from collecting the Mind Stone attached to Vision. Although there was a fantastic battle with Avengers such as Thor, Captain America, and Black Widow fighting violently, the Avengers and Wakanda fall to Thanos. When Thanos snaps his fingers, T'Challa disappears as part of the 50% Thanos wished to vanquish. T'Challa does appear back in Endgame, one of the first to come out of Doctor Strange's portal. He leads the warriors of Wakanda with the Avengers in a scene that I'm sure we all have implanted in our memories. A complete assemble of MCU heroes fighting to save the world, all under the banner of Avengers. That's where we left off with our Wakandan king. Unfortunately, a lot has changed since then. Wakanda Forever is the next entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the last in its Phase 4. Phase 4 of the MCU has been controversial to say the least. There's been definite hits like Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, and WandaVision, but there has been some movies during this phase that really didn't live up to the quality that Marvel is known for. before, such as Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange, and Black Widow. But not to worry, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios will be poised to end their awkward fourth phase with a bang. Director Ryan Coogler will unfortunately have to continue without late lead actor Chadwick Boseman, who died suddenly in 2020 from colon cancer. This obviously changed the script and tone of what this movie would have been. You can expect a grand send-off for the original King of Wakanda, and heartfelt tributes to his legacy will be in the movie. Black Panther meant a ton to a lot of people, especially since it was the first entry in the MCU to have a mostly black cast and a black lead. An incredible example of good representation on screen and off. Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of this character will outlive him, and the shadow he cast on this movie will be felt. On a more positive note, we can expect most of the strong cast of the original movie to show up again. Angela Bassett will be playing Queen Regent Ramonda, Letitia Wright will be playing T'Challa's sister Shuri, Lupita Nyong'o returns as Nakia, Martin Freeman comes back as Everett Ross, and Winston Duke is back as N'Baku. There has been some rumors that Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger will make a reappearance, despite being killed off in the first movie. You never know what could happen. I'm sure fans wouldn't mind too much if they saw Killmonger in some fashion. We will also be welcoming new actors as we expand the Wakandan universe. Tenoch will be arriving as the Marvel comic legend Namor. Namor is basically the MCU's version of Aquaman, and much like Arthur Curry, he is the Prince of Atlantis. Namor, whose name is Roman spelled backwards, is the child of a water princess and a sailor. He has many different variations in the comics. Sometimes he's a hero, sometimes he's an anti-hero, and other times he's just a villain. Whichever version you'd like to choose, each version of him doesn't take too kindly to humans who abuse the ocean that he calls his home. With wings growing out his feet, Namor is considered the first Marvel mutant. He will be quite the challenge to Wakanda. His catchphrase is Imperius Rex, which loosely translates to I am the king of the alphas. Fight me. Now, the plot for Wakanda Forever has been kept fairly simple, and most of the intricate details are hush-hush. After the death of T'Challa, the Wakandans are in deep grieving over the loss of their king. Their enemies don't share in their grief, however, and see T'Challa's death as an opportunity to attack Wakanda while they're down. From that point, there is an immediate search for who will take on the mantle of Black Panther. Will it be Shuri? There's certainly precedent for this, as she has been the Black Panther multiple times in the comics. Others theorize that N'Baku will be donning the helmet of Black Panther, as he vied for it originally when T'Challa was still alive, and even wilder theory has Killmonger becoming the next Black Panther. To me, that's a little far-fetched narratively, but this is Marvel, anything could potentially happen. As far as connections to the larger MCU, nothing has been confirmed. I could definitely see a legacy character such as Winter Soldier potentially popping in this movie, especially with his connections to Wakanda. Maybe we might get some Easter eggs of the Eternals, She-Hulk, or maybe even an introduction to Blade. Who knows? Marvel keeps things pretty close to the chest, and Kevin Feige does everything he can to make sure any hints are a surprise. From what I've heard, this movie only has one mid-credit scene, so feel free to leave the theater after that one. This film has a lot to do. It has to overcome the loss of Chadwick Boseman, give T'Challa a worthy send-off, establish a new Black Panther, create a convincing villain in Namor, and bookend Phase 4 narratively. It's a large task, but I'm sure Ryan Coogler and company are more than up for it. Once again, thank you so much for watching Knights of the Nerds Table. I want to mention briefly that we are very close to our 1,000 subscriber goal, so be sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. How are you feeling about this film? Does it have the ability to surpass its predecessor even without Chadwick Boseman? Who do you think will take on the mantle of Black Panther? I can't wait to hear your theories as well. Please comment below and tell me all about them. Once again, night out. Have a good one.